Welcome back to Seen It Before, where we're probably going to say something stupid about your favorite movie because we've seen it all before. I'm Danny.
I don't know if it's going to be stupid because of the movie we're watching this
The movie
week.
itself was pretty stupid, but...
Well, yeah, so we're seeing The Flash, or we're reviewing The Flash this week. Wow, I can't speak. It's been a few weeks. Anyway, yeah, The Flash, it was... All right, so I had this note written down for what it is. This movie feels like it should be the third movie of a trilogy.
Yeah, I get
But it's
that,
trying
yeah.
to add the first two movies into this third movie at the same time. Because it has the origin in here. It has, well, a version of the origin in here, I guess. And then it has, like, him struggling with his identity, I guess, as the Flash. And then it's the whole Flashpoint paradox, which should be the third
big climactic
movie. Yeah,
of it.
exactly.
Yeah,
The way it moved throughout the movie and kept you interested, did a good job with the directing. Andy Muschietti did a great job with the directing of this movie.
I have never really had a problem with how he directs a movie. It's always his movies always kind of fall to a bad script. Mama, not a good script. It Chapter 1 was a great script, and he did great with that movie. And then It Chapter 2, it fell apart.
Not a great script.
You know. So with this one, it's better. It's better. It's a lot. It's better than I thought it was.
And now it looks like this writer and Andy Muschietti are teaming up for The Brave and the Bold as well, the new Batman movie. So
with a new Batman.
Yes, the new
different
Batman.
actor. Are they going to bring back? Maybe is Clooney in talks? Is Keaton in talks? Or what are you doing there? Is a Batman Beyond movie finally going to happen? Because
we will try to answer some of these questions as we get into this movie. So let's get to it. All right, so we want to do something a little different here to start this episode. It's kind of like our non-spoiler review, but we're calling it the good, the bad, and the fugly. And this is probably the good movie to start with, the fugly part.
Yeah.
But no. So the good parts of this movie, as I said in the intro, are the directing and Ezra Miller, of all people.
Ironically, yeah. This is okay. He is. They are. I don't know. I don't like them. Him, whatever.
As a person.
But
as an actor? Damn.
This is a rare opportunity where I can really separate the art from the artist.
And they said that a few weeks ago after the premiere. I'm just like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But
no, he does a good job.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those are the good parts of it. Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, of course, is
he steals every scene he's in.
He's still got the magic from like his performance. He never skipped a beat from the 90s. You know.
He's kind of like the dude. He's just like when we first meet him, he's just like, yeah.
And also, well, a great thing I thought was really subtle. Gotham is technically in this universe, it's a safer place than it was when he started.
Yes.
And I'm so glad we find it, because that's the whole question of Batman is like, does he bring more harm than he does good? You know, does he just create the problems for him to fix? And that's the whole thing. And the answer to yes, he made it better, and that's all I wanted. You know,
I agree. All right, let's get to the bad. The bad, everybody's
talking
CGI,
about it.
It's an explanation for that Andy Muschietti has said is that it's from the Flash's point of view. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get that in some of the instances, but babies in a microwave, I don't know about that. That looked really shitty. But
yeah, because the thing is, I know what a baby looks like.
Doesn't look like that.
That did not look like a baby. You know,
but in other instances, it looked really good. Like I thought the final battle was going to look like shit. It didn't look as bad as I thought it was going to.
Not that bad. So, but the worst one, the worst was his first run or whatever. That was like, I'm like, oh god, we're already off to a bad foot.
Oh, what? I thought that was cool. I thought it was really cool.
I don't know what he was doing or what Zack Snyder did. His running in the Snyder Cut Justice League, it looked kind of cool. Where he was like throwing his arms like this.
Yeah, they kind of did that in this movie.
They were trying to do it. He wasn't doing it quite right. It just looked lame. I don't, you know what I mean?
I just thought it was really cool how they went from Central City to Gotham, and they just did it on like that one slow take. That looked really cool to me.
Also, the logistics of it kind of confused me though, because it's not a straight shot. They showed it just be, whatever. It's a movie.
Fair point. The fugly. I don't know if there's anything that's necessarily fugly in this movie besides some of the things we just talked about with the CGI. But
I'd say Zod looked pretty fugly in it.
you know, I read some.
Reverse Flash looked fugly.
Oh, you mean yeah? It wasn't Reverse Flash. It was Dark Flash. I think they called him. But yeah, yeah, he looked pretty fugly for sure. They look like a. It kind of works though. Like Flash is a goofy character. These kind of things kind of work for me. It doesn't bother me. Anyway, let's get into the actual parts of this movie. So, it made $65 million opening weekend.
Is that
It was
good?
projected at 75,
Okay.
but this movie's been in development since 2014. So it's had
That's
so
decent
many
for-
script rewrites, so many different directors,
Yeah.
and obviously all that money
It's-
piles up. This is got to be one of the most expensive movies in history as a budget. It's probably over $350 million to make this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's costs that aren't even reported.
That's not even including marketing.
Yeah.
So
Because like imagine the amount of just writers' rooms that they had to rent out just to think of an idea for 9-10 years, you know. So this movie had everything going against it. It had obviously it had the writers. No, not the writers' strike, because this came out
this came out this year.
It was finished before it happened.
Yeah.
But you had the train wreck of what the DCEU was, the train wreck of this particular production, getting it out of the writers, the development phase, plus
COVID delays,
plus the torpedoing of Ezra Miller trying to do whatever he was doing.
We're not going to get into that, but everybody knows the story at this point. So it's just a lot going against this movie, as you said. So,
and then personally, I was thinking about boycotting it because
you didn't want to do this movie. You didn't want to review this.
I wasn't really into because one, the Flash isn't my favorite character. I like the Flashpoint Paradox, the comic, the movie. I liked that.
The animated movie was really good. Yeah,
I knew this was going to be very different from it. I don't like Ezra Miller. I don't like Amber Heard. I side with Johnny Depp with the whole thing, and how he ends up being fired from his property and the other two don't. I don't see how it. So I don't like Warner Brothers as a company.
And then the whole thing they did to Ray Fisher too. I mean,
oh yeah, Ray Fisher. Yeah, that's stupid too. You know.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is kind of in some deep shit right now.
They're in a new regime now.
Then there's
so
all the Snyder people who are going against James Gunn and all this stuff. I'm just
there's so much nonsense involved.
Like Twitter. That's all my Twitter is. Right? I'm like, oh my god, I don't care.
It's a chore to even keep up to date with what's happening in the universe. So that's why I wasn't.
And this movie does not help make sense of any of it. So let's get into it.
Well, yeah, oh my god.
So
it's still a fun ride, though.
Yes, it is. All right, so let's start off. We already talked about the long shot of Flash running from Central City to Gotham. We have Ben Affleck. He did pretty good in this movie. I mean, he was in it for 5 minutes total screen time, but we get to see him again in a cool blue cape.
People are bringing up the fact that he's finally got the gray and blue outfit, the classic comics.
Yet he's in the daytime.
That was a little confused because that made me think though, why don't criminals in Gotham just do crime during the day?
Exactly.
You know,
that's what. And this was confirmed to be the Falcones. They're the ones that blew up the hospital or whatever. So, yeah. So all this is happening. Flash basically is just trying to damage control around the hospital, and Batman's going after them. So yeah. Here's the part where the babies fall out of the hospital on the top floor.
The thing is, I thought, why the fuck is he putting a baby in a microwave? That seems super unsafe.
Yeah.
And then, that's a thing, a kind of recurring thing with this movie. They answer my question 10, 20 minutes later into the movie. Every question I had, that doesn't really make sense.
What was the answer?
That's for the baby, because if you move somebody too fast, their clothes start their fabric friction lights them on fire. You don't want to light the baby on fire.
Well, that, and I think something with their internal organs too, because they're so
that's what happened with Barry halfway through the movie. He throws up for the entire fight.
Yes. So it makes sense. There's little subtle details. Yeah,
I like that. I thought it was kind of dumb how it was kind of a worse version of everything's going to be a worse version of Quicksilver's thing in Days of Future Past because it was so perfectly done in 2014.
Yeah, Evan Peters. Money.
So even the one in Apocalypse was lesser than that one. Yeah. So you're never going to top that, but it did seem very much as going for that. And but he saves 8 babies, I think.
Yeah, something like that. He saves a lot of babies, and then the nurse who was just like, ah! Just freaking out. Like, I mean, yeah, if you're going from midair to right on the ground immediately after, yeah, I would be freaked out. So yeah, eventually Batman ends up catching the criminals. They can't drop this thing into the river, and then get our first cameo of the movie. Gal Gadot coming back as Wonder Woman. That's the one I did not expect, and I was like, "Oh damn, okay."
I was confused at what they were like the meta-ness of it. Like, are they trying to tell me that she's still part of this, or is it kind of like
it's like her
Ben Affleck's thing? They're going away. Like this is the last time you're going to see them.
Wonder Woman 3 was canned. So yeah.
It started off so decent, like it was good, you know.
Wait, what?
The Wonder Woman.
Oh,
movies.
Wonder Woman. Yeah, the first one was really good.
Yeah,
the second one was. Peter Pascal was the best part of that movie.
I didn't even really.
Yeah,
I saw it like in the background because it came out on Christmas Eve in 21,
something like that. Yeah.
So I just watched it in the background while we were opening gifts, and I'm like, this movie's ass.
That's probably the only way to watch that movie.
And then Pedro Pascal's like, he's like snorting something and he's like crying. I don't know.
It was weird. It was very weird. Okay, so then we move on to Barry's back in his personal life. He's talking to Bruce about possibly going back in time and changing, you know, because his dad's appeal was coming up and he's like, he's lost his own feelings again. You get this flashback of him running out the night his mom was murdered. You know, typical Flashpoint stuff that has been done before in the show and in the movie.
So here's the thing. He comes up, he doesn't think about this idea at all until this movie, until he runs so fast that, because he's so angry and he runs so fast that he ends up in the time thing.
The orb.
Why wouldn't he be thinking about this?
Well, that's the other thing,
because he goes back in time in Justice League.
Yes, in Justice League, I was going to say that to Batman.
Why would he not be thinking about it since then?
See, that's the weird thing that I don't understand and when this takes place. So it's never really...
I don't know.
See, that's another weird part, scripting issue.
Another thing is it the suit that just makes his lightning orange? Is that, because that's what I could kind of gather. I don't think they really explain that deliberately.
No, it's never really stated. I think it's just a creative choice.
Okay, because like I noticed that obviously in the beginning when he's wearing the suit, he's orange. Then when Newberry gets
it's blue.
It's blue.
Yep, that's to differentiate them.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that universe is different, so it's a different.
But that's also when he goes into the next universe.
Kind of like the Electro thing in.
I'm guessing
in No Way Home. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. It's not a different universe. It's
that's true.
It's a different
timeline.
It's back in time, which creates a different
branch
universe.
timeline.
Yeah.
Kind of like Marvel, except they explain it a different way, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Which I think is an interesting kind of new idea.
Yes.
For time travel we haven't seen.
The whole thing with his dad, it rests on a can of tomato sauce. So like he never looks up at the camera, so like they can prove he's innocent. He wasn't at the house at the time of the murder.
Yeah, they telegraphed how the movie was going to end so big, so much. I was like, oh, okay, so of course they're gonna have him look up at the end of the next, when he fixes everything.
I thought it was gonna be a shoddy like Barry in his father's clothes type of thing. I thought it was gonna be that. It wasn't actually gonna be his dad. It would have been Barry in his clothes.
I thought he was gonna do something where like he like shifts his head up real quick.
Yeah.
Like Barry comes in like Flash and just like lifts his head up real quick.
Like, snaps his dad's neck.
He's like, oops, sorry, Dad. I just need you to be innocent.
Oh my God. That'd be so bad.
Also, not that anybody really cares. I still would I like what's his name? Office Space guy. That's the actor that's a dad in this.
Oh yeah. His
it's Rob something.
Hold on.
I think.
Hold on.
I would have liked Billy Crudup, who was the original actor. He played Russell in Almost Famous.
Ron Livingston.
Ron Livingston, yeah. So, don't get me wrong, he does a good job. But I really would have liked to see Billy Crudup plus consistency
I
between
think
the
it was
universes.
scheduling issues. That's why he couldn't come back. So
Yeah, I get it.
It happens.
And he's probably like, yeah, this franchise is a hot mess. I'm
like-
leaving. It's like, I signed up for this movie 10 years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about the orb array. So Barry goes into this orb now he has another chat with Ben Affleck.
He's like, yo, what if we could? He's like, Barry,
Stop. This is
very
part of who you
wise.
are. It defines who you are.
have to
Whatever.
learn. Yeah, but at the same time, like, bro, like, look who's talking. Like, your parents' death defined you, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. So
If you could change your fate, would you?
So Barry goes into the orb again, and then we see it's like a big coliseum around him. So he starts going backwards in time, and you see all the events of like Justice League play out and stuff like that in different forms. We see something else I don't even remember, but
I mean, you saw the beginning parts of the movie.
yeah,
But I like the idea of that. It's kind of like not exactly a slideshow, but it's like like you said, a coliseum kind of thing where it kind of pulls in all around him.
Yes.
And it's like he's like the center of whatever universe at any time, and then he can control and expand and
see where he is. And stuff like that.
pull himself out of it.
Yes. So he goes back and puts the can in his mom's cart and everything, and
Don't forget the tomatoes.
then they have a conversation too. Yeah, and it's like, oh, Barry.
Wait, which no, that's after.
Is that after?
That's after.
Okay, so we'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
That's where like Ezra Miller, don't like them, but good acting.
Acting. Yeah, so he goes back in the orb, starts going back forward in time, and then Dark Flash appears and knocks him out of the timeline
Yeah, and no
a
mention of him
at-
for the rest of the movie.
at a certain point, because that's where he wants to start this new timeline of
Right.
what he goes on to. So it kind of makes sense that way.
So in order for him to exist, he has to.
He has to knock him out at that certain point in time. Yes. So,
But I love it, like for the entire like rest of the movie until like the very end, he just forgets that a guy pushed him out.
I didn't forget about him. I'm like, where is he going to show up again?
Yeah,
Come on.
I knew for maybe an hour after that happened. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be this Barry that's gonna turn into that.
Yeah, because he's very passionate. He's the younger Barry. He's the 18-year-old Barry. He's 10 years younger than our current timeline Barry. So, yeah. So we went to the central, or he has a family dinner with his parents, and they're just like, "Oh, you're so different."
Yeah, it's like you're so hungry too.
Yeah, yeah. It was a cute little moment. Then, psychotic Barry, just coming in.
Yeah, because it's a fucking train wreck.
Train wreck, and then other Barry like tackles him, or our Barry tackles him.
It's like fuck off.
He's trying to like hide his face, and it just doesn't work. And
He
it's
puts
like,
his fucking underwear over his face.
Oh, and it just did not work.
It's like my face. That's my face.
You know, the whole trailer thing.
Also, I didn't like. He kind of looks like dead in the eyes when like that happens. I'm not sure. Like it's in the trailer too. He's just like, that's my face, and then like older Barry's just like,
Yeah, because he doesn't know what to do. He's like,
like,
oh,
this
fuck,
is my
oh,
face.
fuck, oh, fuck. So, yeah, then we get the Flash realizes he doesn't have powers anymore. Or,
not
no,
yet.
he has to give Barry these powers.
Yeah.
So, he goes and makes the whole lab thing, and by God, it works. Like a miracle, like clockwork.
Right. So then that gets me thinking. It's like, was nobody supposed in this unit or in this timeline? Was nobody supposed to get hit by that?
Stop.
They're just supposed to just.
Yep, no Flash.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the lightning goes through old Barry into younger Barry, and in the process, old Barry loses his powers, and
Right.
new Barry gets the powers.
So I want to know though is because he realizes early on I've created a world without metahumans. What specifically about him? Because he does really like moving a can of tomatoes into a cart. Does that?
Butterfly effect.
I'd like to know a little bit, like couple other instances and like how.
Well, I mean,
You
he
know?
starts. Yeah, I don't know.
Is like the can of tomatoes like the weight of her car is now a little bit
it's
more,
like-
so
it's-
she swerves and then
It's like a canon event in a way, I think. So, like, if it
guess.
doesn't happen, something else. I don't know. It's weird. It's like one of those typical.
Yeah, I'd like to understand a little bit more. I know we're not gonna.
It doesn't matter. It's a 2-hour movie, 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah. At times it did feel like it too.
I know. But yeah, so Zod's back. We get Barry's calling, trying to find all the Justice League members so he can assemble like a ragtag team of Justice Leaguers. Mm-hmm. Superman doesn't exist at this point.
He tries to find Arthur
tries
Curry.
to find Gal Gadot, or Wonder Woman. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Arthur Curry, we get Tamora Morrison as his dad.
That was a cool cameo.
I was like, that's a nice, good cameo.
Which, like, first of all, why? Because, like, he was never, I don't think he was ever really scheduled to be in this movie. They just kind of like, oh, we have Tamora Morrison. So when Zack Snyder was casting him for Justice League, is he just like, let's get Boba Fett to be Arthur Curry's dad? And he's like, I'll do it. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Batman does exist, so go to Wayne Manor. And it looks pretty similar to the one in the 89 movies. Pretty similar to the actual manor, but it's not. It's a totally different place.
Yeah, I didn't even double check. I know like the little archway they go in with the knights, the armor and stuff. That looks pretty accurate from what I remember. Yeah. Because I saw the movie, last time I saw that movie was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember like they have like Vicky Vale and him have like a convo there.
Yeah. Okay. So there's wandering around this house. Nobody's in sight, and then a little nice little it feature here in this movie. He comes out of like a cupboard. It's like, oh, that's definitely a good horror thing to add to there. So yeah, comes out and just like sidekicks old Barry because he has no speed.
Yeah, because he can't
knock the fuck out.
And then New Barry's just kind of like, ooh, he's actually like learning. I like that you can kind of see him getting the hang of his powers subtly. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and Batman just looks like a grizzled old man. Long hair. He's retired. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to do. There's no crime in Gotham, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't understand how there's no crime, but
like, there's not a need for Batman, I guess, at this point. Or maybe there's a Batman Beyond that we don't know about in that universe.
Maybe, but I think he would have called on his ward to help out in this mission, right?
Oh, what if he's sleeping? It's during the day.
Yeah, Terry's asleep. I can't call him to go rescue this Siberian, this girl trapped in a Siberian
I know.
prison.
So yeah, then they explain this multiverse theory with spaghetti. It all boils down to spaghetti. So
I mean, you can't have a really complicated time travel conversation paradox stuff without some sort of easy metaphor specifically involving food, it turns out.
Yeah. They talk about it like it's different from the Marvel way the multiverse works.
Back to the Future started the trend, the idea of what we know to be the branching timelines theory. Marty McFly goes back from 1985 to 1955. Yeah. Makes a change, sprouts off a different timeline. So that's why he goes back to the dystopian 1985 where Biff is Trump.
Yep.
That's the idea that we understand to be time travel. This one, and then obviously Marvel created the multiverses with their own version of time travel, where they go back in time and everything was always supposed to happen, and there's just a continuing. There's one timeline, and no matter what you do, you're always going in the future, and it's always supposed to happen. Blah blah blah. Multiverses. This one. You go back in time to a fulcrum point, I think he called it, and that splits off a tangential timeline in both the past and the future.
Right, that's right.
Which I thought was a very interesting new concept. I didn't think we could have a new concept with time travel, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, so
So it's a multiverse / time travel type thing, which is interesting. So then, obviously, he explains it. Once that happens, you have different fulcrums showing up in every different place, which creates the multiverse. Mm-hmm. Which you get a big bowl of spaghetti. That some things will overlap just by fate. Sometimes they won't. Different things mean different things. Blah blah blah. So basically, anything can happen now, and there's like concrete-ish explanation for it, which I think is nice. we're gonna go into the Bat Cave, and they find the little like escape hatch. Yep. They go down there, which also really cool. Another thing that they said, because I noticed Barry, like he to get the beers when he's talking with what's her name, Iris.
Oh yeah, he
phases. I'm thinking in my head that the first time he did, I'm like, okay, how is he not falling through the floor? But they explain that because he can have control over the certain atoms, so he can keep a layer of his atoms at his feet solid, or like, you know, or one by one as they're going through. So he can go in directions and not fall through. New Barry doesn't have control over that, so he just goes right through. Perfect idea. So
like all these little things are kind of just getting explained, which is good.
Exactly, and I like the idea, like the screenwriters thinking about my questions that come up.
Yeah.
They're not just saying bullshit. But yeah, so then they break into the Batcave, and then Bruce is just totally cool. We get all the glamour shots of the Batcave. We get all that. Yeah, you get all the nostalgia
and stuff.
Which we got that in the trailer, so I wasn't too affected.
We also got this. Young Barry finds a cloth bag of laughs, which was at the very end of that Batman movie that was found on Jack Nicholson's body.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, guys, that's nice.
This bag laughs.
Yeah, this bag of laughs. Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah, okay. So there's so many different cameos.
So now he's trying to look for Superman. He's going on the back of here looking for any evidence of like an alien that flew into Kansas or whatever in 19 whatever. Mm-hmm. So then he finds out they're at a black site. This person is at a black site in Russia. Right. So they have to go break him out, and eventually Batman agrees. He's like, all right, fine, I'll take you there.
Why get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Which everybody shat on him for that, or the writers for that, delivering that line.
Yeah.
I thought it was the same kind of like stupid, cringy bullshit that like, I don't know, Norman Osborn was saying. He's like, I'm something of a scientist. I thought it was the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's got that vibe to it.
It's fine. Why are they mad about
it? Dude, DC fans get mad about anything.
Yeah.
All right, especially Snyder fans.
Yeah, Snyder fans are like almost as rabid as like, you know, pure Star Wars fans, I'd say.
No offense, but y'all are crazy.
I am a pure Star Wars, like, you know.
Yeah, no offense to Snyder fans, but y'all are crazy. So they get attacked by a bunch of guards at the bottom of this area, and young Barry moves so Barry just starts throwing up. And there's where that part was explained. Yep.
And they make it work, and they add it in, and I thought that was, it's, you know, again, like it's nice that they're thinking of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, they've had 4 or 5 different writers on this.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, that's probably how it kind of came into play. So they find where the Kryptonian is being held. It's Kara, not Superman. Apparently, in this universe, Superman was taken as a baby, and they thought, or Zod thought, he had the life force in him of a Kryptonian, so they can rebuild their empire.
Yeah.
Nope, it's Kara.
So I'm just trying to think. That kind of confuses me, because I thought the reason Kal-El was special was because he was the first natural-born Kryptonian in like 100 generations or something weird like that. Kara wasn't. She was already born. You know, she's older than
it's
Bruce,
also a different timeline, so who knows how this all works out.
And I wish they didn't show that reveal of her flying over behind his fist. I thought that was a great reveal. He's like, we try not to die. And then like it zooms in on his fist, and then he lowers it, and then she's there.
See, I thought that was just going to be a trailer shot. I didn't think that was actually going to be in the movie.
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she kills all of them.
She kills all of them, totally. And then she
has a half-assed arc where she's like, I hate humans because they tortured me, which is a good foundation. But then she just kind of switches on a dime once Zod executes a guy.
She finds out like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, and Zod, you know, for his collider, whatever the hell they call it. I forget what they call it. His
bouncy booming machine.
Stumping machine.
Stumping machine.
I don't know. That's all I got. So now old Barry needs to get his powers back. So the way to think about this is by tying some bat thing going up in the air through the well and Benjamin Franklining himself. So, it does not work the first time or the second time. And he's just frying himself at this point. It's like, dude.
Yeah. That's the fugly part. He looked pretty
that's
fugly
kind
there.
of the fugly part. It's like, dude.
It's like, yo, you're just like killing yourself.
But then Supergirl, in the meantime, she was talking to Zod at that point, and then she realized he's fucking crazy, and she goes back to help Barry, and Batman.
Barry.
So then she flies him up to literally in a storm, and he just gets electrocuted again.
So I know it's comics, but Barry at this point is a human, and he should
be dead,
struck by lightning twice, and covered in chemicals twice.
Yep.
How is he not dead? Who knows?
Plot armor.
Plot. Yep.
So yeah. So
although I did like that cool shot of Michael Keaton flipping the switch. He's like,
Yeah. So then we get the big CGI battle that we've seen from the trailers.
Yep. I'm noticing a trend where we're getting kind of like the battle before the battle before the final battle.
Before the climax.
You know what I mean? It's like a kind of a bullshit battle that they have to get through to get to the real battle at the end of the movie that has the real stakes.
Yeah.
Like
usually they lose this battle, which they did. So
yeah, I mean, like Civil War did it, where like you have the big battle at the airport, and then you have the small battle at the missile silo thing. Yeah. This one, obviously, you have the giant battle in the desert, and the real one that matters is the one in the Time Force portal zone.
The orb that we'll get to in just a few minutes. So, So we get to this big battle. Old Barry has his suit back. Young Barry has a made-up Batman suit that is just spray-painted red and has a bolt on it. All right. And then Batman's there because he's Batman.
Yeah, which I like the suit for Batman in this one.
It looks good.
There's a good combination between the very first one and the second one, because it's not as like plasticky looking as the Returns one, but they still kind of kept the stiffness that everyone criticized it for in the beginning, where he's like looking around with his shoulders,
Yeah, because he can't turn his fucking head.
Yeah. I thought it made him look more intimidating, but practically it would not work.
No, not at all.
And then Barry's fake Flash outfit is pretty good.
It's all right.
I loved Kara's outfit. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, no, she looked real cool.
Like her whole, like, I don't know, it just looked like the red and the blue and really mixed together.
Yeah, it's a vibe for sure. Yeah. It was really cool. So they're all fighting. She's fighting Zod. She's kicking his ass. And then, she takes her guard down and he stabs her. And takes her life force. She dies. Batman flies himself into the side of Zod's fucking ship. And kamikazes himself.
Badass.
And she's like, all right. Yeah. So I'm just like, what? And then they go back in time again to this,
right? Because you have to do it with a time travel movie. You have to go back. I'm glad that they didn't have like a giant montage of our Barry, like the 28-year-old Barry being learning this lesson time and time and time again, like doing like a Doctor Strange type thing. Because like the movie's already pretty long. If they did that, that would have been. So I'm glad they only did it once.
Yeah, and then
Barry realized
that Barry realized, like, this is a canon event. This happens no matter what.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh shit.
Yeah. He's like,
and then young Barry cannot comprehend that. He doesn't want anyone to die.
He's young and naive, so he keeps doing it, but we don't have to see it happen and do it over.
We see him keep coming back every once in a while with more shards in him from Zod's ship or whatever.
Right.
And that's where you figure, he ends up being the Dark Flash. Mm-hmm. And he is.
Yeah, once he got the thing, and I'm like, yep, that's happening.
Yep. So then Dark Flash comes out. They have they don't really have a battle with him. They kind of just like, young Barry just throws himself in front of old Barry and kills himself, and then that's how it ends. I was like, all right, that was kind of anticlimactic.
Right.
Battle.
I didn't exactly understand young Barry's arc after that, because he was still in the mindset of we could change it, and then I would assume that like in Dark Flash's past of this event, the same thing would have happened, where older Barry couldn't have convinced him.
Yeah.
So I don't see any explanation as to why this time he can convince him.
I don't know either. It was really kind of not fleshed out very well, that part of it.
There's a lot of things, like even like okay, so like there's really no build up between Kara and Zod Also, when Zod was talking about like, Kal-El wasn't the key to the blah blah blah. I was totally expecting him to, adult Superman. That probably was in one of the drafts before Cavill got fired. That I wanted him to show up as evil Superman.
That would have been cool.
How cool would that be?
Homelander, everything. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So just to have like a little bit of the injustice thing in there, just a little bit, but they couldn't do that. Batman fights. Batman has a good kind of finishing arc, but in the context of what we know from the other two movies, he goes up against a literal Kryptonian god. Through ingenuity, defeats him a little bit, but then he kind of dies.
Yeah,
he's like, you already did, kid. You already brought me back.
Yeah, he's like, ha ha. He came back. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really rushed beats, though. That's the thing. Yeah.
And then while this is happening, we're seeing all these worlds colliding, incursion style, which I'm like, interesting. So we get Christopher Reeve cameo. We get
every cameo under the sun.
What's her face from Supergirl in 1984? I can't remember her name.
I forgot her name.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We also get the older Superman before Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, George something?
George something, I can't remember. And then there is we see Adam West, I think, briefly.
Right.
We see Nick Cage.
Which was my all-time favorite cameo, I think, out of anything. Everybody hates it, I think.
Yeah.
But I just, because I've seen so many different documentaries about that potential movie.
Yeah.
It was going to be directed by Tim Burton. Nick Cage was going to, he was going to fight. The whole reason it got squashed is because the producer, I forgot his name. He was so insistent on doing anything but a Superman movie because he wanted him to fight a giant spider. He didn't want him to fly, I think.
So weird.
It's so weird, just weird decisions and stuff. So, obviously Tim Burton left, Nick Cage left, and it never happened. But I would have loved to see Nick Cage as Superman that entire time. And we finally got to see what that would look like.
Got it after 20 some odd years.
I like it.
It was good. It was good, man. It was good.
And I wasn't even expecting it. I was just like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yep.
So that was really cool.
The one I really wish we got, though, is Christian Bale Batman. That's the one I would have loved to see, but Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan have had it falling out recently, so I think that's one of the big reasons why it got scrapped if they had a cameo.
Well, ever since they released Tenet, or ever since they released their whole slate on HBO Max and during the pandemic, Nolan's like, I'm out. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, and he went to Universal. He's got a 5-movie deal with Universal now.
Good for him.
As of recording, they just did screen tests this past weekend for Superman, so hopefully we're going to get an announcement in the very near future.
Listen, I think we just need a break. We just need,
they're going to have a year break because the last one's Aquaman, then they're not going to have another movie until 2025. So they're going to have a break.
I don't think a year break is enough. I think we need
because we'll have the Penguin show. I think that's all we're getting in 2025. Yeah. Hey, I'm okay with it.
We need to forget. First of all, we need to forget that the DCEU was as much of a train wreck as it is, and we can't just transition right into the new stuff. We need to forget that it's bad. Mm-hmm. We need to forget these versions of these characters, and then we need to establish new ones piece by piece, which I think James Gunn is going a little too hard on already. We just had Cavill back. And he just got fired again. And we're going to have this new Superman movie. It was going to be in 2024?
25.
But because the writer's strike pushed it a year.
No, I think it was always going to be 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I think that's still, 2 years. It's still too soon.
It's too fresh,
we need some time.
I get it.
Especially with Marvel being the way it is, because there's superhero, I think superhero fatigue's finally setting in because we've misstepped so many different times. Marvel, I don't know what they're doing.
They've had some bangers, though. They had some bangers.
Yeah.
Two. 2 in the last 2 years. Back to Flash.
Yeah.
Flashback. All right.
So funny.
So after that, Barry decides he takes the can away from his mother and everything. and has a nice conversation with her. You're talking about the acting part. Like, this is probably the best acted scene in the movie.
Yeah, because, you know, she doesn't say it, but she kind of knows that it's him.
I don't think she knows it's him, but she's like, I don't think she's like that deep that she would know it's him.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's possible. You never know.
Or what's the? Well, there's another movie that does this sort of same thing. Oh, it's Thor. In Endgame, she's like, "You don't think I know you're not my son?"
Yeah,
you know, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, it's that.
A mother knows, boy. You know.
Yeah.
So
she's also a witch, so.
True. But yeah, Barry puts on a great performance. He's like, you could really feel for it. Like, you don't want him, because, you know, he knows, and we know, he's sentencing his mom to death by, it's dumb, but leaving out a can of tomatoes.
Yeah, but then he puts all the tomatoes on the top shelf so his dad will look up, and
so at least he can do that.
That's what he changed.
But also, I don't, like, everybody understood when he did that, he just did the same thing in a different way. So of course he's going to create a different timeline. Like,
so here we get to the end. After he gets out of the courthouse, and we see the same car Ben Affleck left in come back out. It's not Ben Affleck.
It's
back out. It's
George
Clooney. I was like, I knew this going into the movie. I was like, oh, George Clooney's going to be showing up. And
and we got the first and only F-bomb in the whole movie.
Yeah,
like, who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you? Yeah, that was perfect.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Like, some of the comedy in this movie really delivered. Like, it hit pretty good. But yeah.
There's still one question hanging out of all of this, though. Who kills his mom? And I know in the comics it's Reverse Flash. And I know
that's why I was saying this should be the third movie.
Yeah, right?
Not the first movie, because they could have had, you know, Professor Zoom, Reverse Flash, whatever you want to call him, in the second movie, and then you find out he's actually evil. Then you go to the third movie, and then he's the main villain. Damn it. But
I don't know, man. It's like, and again, like, they did this entire thing in the Flash show 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, season 3 they did it in the Flash show, and they did a good job with it. Grant Gustin's fantastic as Flash,
and you know, so like that's the interpretation of this.
Yeah, we didn't get him in this though. I was like, oh,
I would have liked to see that. That would be kind of cool. Oh, you know who else is also in this for no reason? Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
Who?
Jamie Lannister.
Oh,
he's just in it. He's eating a pizza.
Oh.
Also, Andy Muschietti at the end.
Yeah, he was the guy, the hot dog.
The hot dog guy, yeah. So, but which is weird. Why is he in?
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny.
And then the post-credit scene is Barry talking to Aquaman, who exists in this universe still. This new timeline, should I say.
Right.
And he's drunk, and he's just a mess.
I'm just confused as to why they would set it up this way, because if this is clear, this is ending Ezra Miller's involvement in the DC, right?
Not necessarily.
Why? I hate that.
They did such a good performance in this. I'm not saying he's not done, but I don't know if he's in the future plans for James Gunn. It's not said.
I don't want him.
He is not said.
Well, it sounds like they have big plans, like, because there's obviously the lingering question. Because if I'm a normie, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know who the fuck killed his mom. And if I'm a critic who knows nothing about this, I would definitely dock this movie points for not answering that question. And me knowing that there's no current work, like, plan in the works to explain that. Why is that there?
So, yeah. Where we go from here, Blue Beetle is the next movie on the DC slate, and that is confirmed by James Gunn to be in his future plans. Blue Beetle. And Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, it's going to set up more stuff like The Flash did, apparently. So I don't know what that means, because it's going to take place in the Snyderverse that we're still in, The Lost Kingdom. It's not going to take place in this new timeline yet. So I don't know how we're going to get there. It's going to be weird. It's going to be wonky, and I'm probably not going to like it. So
yeah, it's going to be a rough couple years, I think, to understand what's happening here.
Well, I mean, it was a rough couple of years trying to understand the DCU as a whole anyway, because Zack Snyder, the visionary director he is, did not have a clear plan, because he just wanted to catch up to Marvel. So
yeah, I mean, I think David Zaslav was the CEO or the CFO or whatever. He was the one in charge of this whole thing under the Zack Snyder stuff. He just because think about it. Man of Steel came out in 2013. Mm-hmm. That's 6 movies after Marvel, and it didn't do good. And then in 2016, the first episode or the first movie in Phase 3 of Marvel, set up the Civil War. So they're like, let's have a Civil War. Batman, yeah, like. You can't
even establish Batman yet. Like that makes you gotta do a movie with just Ben Affleck at that point, which is weird because he has the most appearances as Batman ever in any movies. Yet he has.
You know nothing about him. That's so stupid.
It's the craziest thing, man.
Dude, yeah, no. So it's obviously anybody can say DC's a fucking train wreck for 20 years at this point. What I'm saying is,
at this point,
I'm hoping that the tide changes because we're seeing so many flops, major headline flops that like are just not working. Like streaming is dying. Disney Plus is dying.
Netflix is gonna die too.
Netflix is dying. Yeah,
Netflix is like dead because of their stupid password thing. I haven't been on Netflix since that started.
Well, the thing is, no, because they actually got a lot. They got a big increase in subscribers when they did that. There's some people who have been sharing that decided, fuck it, I'll just get it anyway.
Yeah, I haven't been on since I started, so.
Yeah, I only watch it.
I go on Hulu.
Hulu's where it's at. I watch HBO Max because I have we just get it for the work for free. So, but if I didn't, I would just stick with Hulu.
Overall,
it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, there's nothing groundbreaking in this movie. It's
it's just
it's there.
It's like
it has some cool things, but it has lots of scripting. Well, not lots of scripting issues. Lots of things they didn't answer at the end, especially the third act is very rushed.
Yeah, third act stuff comes out of nowhere. Yeah, it's already a loaded movie. I don't know how you would fix it. Yeah, I mean, you did have 10 years, and this is the best you could come up with. I understand. So, performances are pretty good.
Yeah, I think all of them did pretty good. I don't think I had a problem with any of the performances. I don't know if Iris was needed in this movie.
Yeah, I forgot all about her.
Yeah. I mean, sure, she was in the Snyder cut for a hot second, but like...
Yeah, she's the one that's kind of like, he's like looking at her like, well, she's like about to die in a car crash.
Yeah, that's what she said. Have I seen you recently? That's why she said that. And he's like, oh, no.
Stalking her like Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield.
But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this movie a 73.
Yeah, I'm with you. 75 for me.
75. Wow, you gave it higher than me for once?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
I'm not going to buy it,
No, but the rewatchability is a big thing for me. I don't think this is rewatchable.
No. It's on par with like a 2012, 2013 superhero movie. It's a good callback.
Transformers movie.
It's better than what we've been getting. I know that for sure.
It's better than Quantumania for sure. I can tell you that.
Yeah. And like
that was a train wreck.
Oh God. I think I rated that one really high. I rated all the Marvel ones way too high.
Yeah. Mainly because it was fun. I think that's the reason we kind of gave it that. But this one was fun too, but it just was.
It's fun, but it's also kind of, we know the context of everything. We know it's not gonna get any better anytime soon. No. So I'm just accepting it.
This movie's going to lose so much money. It's not even funny. So
yeah.
There's no shot for a sequel in this.
Just reset. Wait. You just got to wait. Hold on to the stuff for 4 years. We need a break, everybody.
We're Seen It Before. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with the handle @SeenItBeforecast. That's SCENE, It Beforecast. And on Twitter with the handle SMB_pod. I'm Dan.
I'm Danny. You can find me at Danny_Was. It's my Instagram. My letterbox is serialized at DJ Was, or my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Was. What are we doing next week?
Well, we lied about what was happening this week. First of all, we said it was going to be a roundup episode and said it ended up being The Flash. But now we're doing our roundup episode next week. So we got a bunch of different movies. Should we list them off?
Sure.
All right. Well,
we have 3 movies.
3 movies, 2 shows.
Yeah.
So the 2 shows, Mandalorian Season 3 and The Last of Us, because I've been dying to talk about that on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And the movies, Cocaine Bear, Scream 6, and Beau is Afraid, which we've already talked about a little bit on this podcast, but we're gonna get a little hot more into it, and we're
Get
gonna
more
have
existential.
we're gonna have Cameron on again with us. It's gonna be a good time, and till then, we'll see you.